So the first effect, what we're gonna do in Fusion is something like this. So I can show you in the timeline, I already did it. Wait, not this, but something like this. So if I go full screen, Fusion is a bit taxing on the system, that's why it's lagging a little bit. So you can see that this text is going together attached to my subject, and you might have seen a lot of this kind of effect in commercials or even in any other video that the text is attached to the object, and that's what we're gonna do now. So how you do it, and for example there are some things here, some effects here, but if we want to search for an effect, so you press Shift plus space, and that gives you a list of all the effects, which is like hundreds of effects in Fusion tab. You don't need to know all these hundreds to make a good video. First we're gonna do is tracker. So whatever you search, it just appears, and there is so many other trackers. So I would just go with a normal tracker. And Fusion is really powerful. You can almost do really crazy animations in Fusion. But if you're interested, maybe I can make a course about it, because if I just teach Fusion, it would take like 7 to 8 hours just for teaching Fusion. It's so cool. So anyways, getting back to trackers, as soon as I selected the tracker just appears, tracker node appears in between the input and the output. And if you zoom in here, then you can see that there is a green arrow, and then there is a blue arrow, and there's also yellow box. So green arrow is anything that you would put on top of the tracker, that should come on the top. And if you want to put any effect, any mask or so, that would be connected to the blue one. And this yellow one is the input. I think, yes, that's the input, because this tracker is getting input from the main median one, which is the original file. So the original file is attaching here, but if you click here, the original file gets disconnected. So now the output is tracker plus the output, which is nothing. So that you don't, that's why you don't see nothing. So we would attach it again. And as soon as I click tracker, if you go here on the screen, you would see Intelli tracker. And that's the tracker. And if I just drag this tracker around, if I drag it on the cow, it kind of zooms in and shows where the tracker is. What I would do, I would maybe put the tracker on her head, on the cap, because also for tracker to work, it's nice to select the area which is a little bit contrasty, or maybe I just select the bag. It's not that contrasty, but let's try. Yep. So once we have this tracker selected somewhere, now we want to track this, because now if I move this clip here, you see the tracker goes away from the bag. So what we want to do is to do a setting so that this square box sticks to the bag. Yeah, so let's do it. So as soon as I click here on the tracker, you go on the right hand side, and then there are a lot of settings and options. That would always happen every time. If you have a new thing here, you would have different settings and options relevant to whatever you have selected. So with the tracker, what I want to do, I want to track, of course, square to track the bag. So what I would do, if you go here in trackers, you go tracking, and then you do this forward play button. So that obviously says track forward. So let's just press it and see what happens. So now the system is working for this image to track forward. And as you can see that it's just tracking all the way until the end, until I just bring the camera down. So let's just go until here. Or maybe what we can do is that we can just crop this end part until here. Let's go back to Fusion. So now you can see that the tracker has tracked the backpack all the way to the end, because you can, if you go here to this green thing, that shows the path, exact path of how that particular point in the bag went throughout the entire video. Now what we can do, we can attach text to the bag, and that would stick to the tracker. So what you want to do, you go to tracker, or maybe you just go shift and space and do text. You go text, and text comes. So text box is here, and you want to put the text on the foreground. So what you would do, this is the output of the text. So you take the arrow from here and put it in the foreground. And now let's just do, say, maybe just write it bag. Yep. Nothing happens. There's a reason. What we're going to do, go back to tracker, go to operations, and in operation you can do from here to match move. And now what happens is because we put the bag here, like the text, whatever, like it's same as the edit page, that if you bring a text, it's always in the center, right? So now what we want to do is to bring this bag on top. Like for example, if we just play the bag here, the bag is still replicating the movement of this bag on its own plane. Yeah, so what we want to do is that just drag this bag maybe here or on the subject, or maybe just on the bag, and let's just play. So now it almost looks like the text is attached to the bag. In some cases it might not be that easy to track something, because here my subject was not going crazy, there was not crazy movement. So yeah, that was tracker. Like how we added text in this case, you can also add a lot of other things like graphics or different icons. For example, let's go here, and if we go to Fusion, now we have text, right? If I just say delete the text, and then if I bring, so now media pool comes in handy. If I just bring this arrow, you can bring this arrow, you can I'll also delete the transform. You can bring, so that's the arrow, you can bring it to the foreground, and now the arrow is here. What you can do, you can change the, you cannot change the position of arrow now because the arrow is not acting as a text. What you need to do, you need to put a transform node. So you just go transform, because as soon as you put transform node, that gives you the option to change the size, change the position of anything. So if I put transform node, so now the transform node is attached to this arrow. So as soon as I click on transform, then I can change the, the position, I can change the size of this arrow, I can also change the angle of this arrow. So let's just go angle, let's just go like this, and if I just bring this up here, then it would be attached to the cap. So you can add anything once you have tracked the object. I usually do text or something like that for just for fun,